Welcome to another exciting episode of Kung Fu for the Streets. I am your host, Sifu Alonzo Robinson, the show that brings traditional Chinese martial arts to the streets of America, using my self-defense program, EDDF, which stands for Engagement, Disorientate, Distract, and Finish. As your host, I will translate traditional Choy Li Fut fighting techniques into practical, everyday self-defense. The topic of today's show is energy, power, and range. Please, before attempting any of the techniques you see on today's show, consult a martial arts professional. So with that in mind, let's begin today's show of Kung Fu for the Streets. Today, we will be demonstrating and explaining the difference between basic, intermediate, and advanced level of engagement techniques. Basic type of engagement is when an attacker engages you in a form of a grapple or a push. Intermediate type of engagement is the attacker goes one step further than the basic level just by adding a strike, such as a punch or even a slap, or we say open palm. Advanced level of engagement combines the first two levels with the exception of adding a grappling technique, such as a hug or when they lift you up. Energy is a touch type of energy because you feel pressure exhibited by an element, such as wind, water, or a person. Pushing or pulling is another type of energy using the strength of a person. Grappling is also a type of energy based upon the level of strength, such as a bear hug. Energy is associated with engagement method of EDDF self-defense program. When we talk about range, I'm talking about the distance between you and the object you're attempting to influence. Like how many feet or inches are between you and the object or person. Range has three different types of levels: close range, medium range, and long range. And each level is different from person to person. Knowing your range is important because it affects your ability to perform an offensive or defensive attack correctly. Range is associated with the finishing method of the EDDF self-defense program. Power. When we talk about the strength of power, I'm not talking about electricity or the power of gravity. Now, some power can't be seen or measured, or in this case, internal human energy. I'm talking about human power that is not related to the size of a person. The power of a strike can be loose, snappy, or whipping. A good example of this is the power is when you snap a towel. A snapping type of power, and it hurts when it makes contact. In Choy Li Fut, we call this strike dot choy. This strike mimics this action. There's also power in a closed or an open strike that combines the loose, snapping, and the whipping action. Power is associated with disorientate or distract method of EDDF self-defense program. This begins the energy portion of our 3 segments of energy, range, and power. So you may be wondering, how do you develop the energy to combat an attacker? Well, what we do in Choy Li Fut is practice sensitivity drills. We use single hand and 2 hand. We will demonstrate that now. So first we're going to do one-handed sticky hand with the right hand, right versus left. You're just going to do kind of a circular motion. And this is usually done with the forearm, not so much the hand, but forearms. Because when we block, we're going to block with the forearms and not the hands. And as you can tell, I'm just not moving my arm, I'm moving my body and my waist. I also want to keep my elbow down, because if I elbow out, I lose connection. I don't want to lose connection. All right, now I'm going to move to double or 2-handed push hands. I'm going to circular motion. Just go circular. So that's one way to develop the energy that you feel when someone is attacking you, because you can feel the tenseness in a person's forearm when they're making an motion or making a motion toward you. So being able to develop that will make it easier to take advantage of your opponent. There's a section for how to maintain connection. So one of the ways we learn to maintain connection is by a technique that's called mirror hand. And all it is I'm going to follow him, he's going to follow me. Wherever his hand movement is, I have to follow. Now if I'm too tense and exerting too much energy, I can't follow him. All right. This is also done with one hand, not two hands. So he's going to follow me first. So his hand's going to be on top. All he's going to do is follow my hand movements. Asking, why is this important to learn this skill? Well, that depends. If a attacker who engages you is trying to grab a shirt or grab you intentionally, you need to be able to feel where his hands is sending his power and where he's moving to, as far as he's going to grab front and back. All right, now I'm going to switch and I'm going to follow him. And this motion is not always about anticipation. If I anticipate his movement, I can lose connection because I'm trying to assume where he's going. See, then my hand goes everywhere because I'm trying to adjust to adjustment, make an adjustment before he makes an adjustment. I don't want to assume where he's going to grab me or punch me, because if I do, I lose already. And if I tense up, my shoulders will get very tight and start to get really sore because I'm trying to add too much pressure to him. That way I'm giving him energy versus me just letting him do his own. Session called biomechanics. Now I know you just kind of saw where I was kind of being relaxed and kind of the arms were moving up and down. I was kind of following him. This time it's a little bit more than that. It's also, I want to work in my waist. That's also going to help me disguise the energy that I'm giving back to him. The best way to explain that one is, if I get a good position, as my right hand comes out, I turn my hips, come back, and I just turn. Okay. So one hand's going to push one out, and one's going to push one back. And this is kind of the way you want to rotate and control. So and from here I can punch if I wanted to, or I can block if I wanted to. I can also trap from this position. As you see, my hands rotate in a circular motion. They're going out, in. And this can also be done in reverse way too, to where I'm here. Okay. So my hips are opening, closing. And when I close my hips, my hand kind of comes back. Good. So that's kind of the mechanics of how you connect the waist and the arms together in a circular motion. So we're going to use two hands for this versus one hand. So once again, I'm going to be real relaxed. Now he's going to push one way, and I'm going to turn my waist. Focus on my waist. So my hips are opening, closing. And when I close my hips, my hand kind of comes back. Good. So that's kind of the mechanics of how you connect the waist and the arms together in a circular motion. Okay, so what my opponent's going to do is we're going to go from sticky hand position, two-man sticky hand position. He's going to do a two-punch combination, 1-2. I'm going to use one hand to wipe on, wipe off, wipe on. So he's going to go slow. 1, 2. You're going to punch with the left. There, and then punch with the right. All right. All right. Go. 1, 3. That's okay. Go. Try to go a little faster this time. Okay. Just a little bit faster. So what that would look like without an opponent kind of looks like this. Once again. Still maintaining the relaxation in the arms, not creating any pressure. When I feel a punch coming in, I block down low, come up, and hit, and there's my strike. All right? How to neutralize energy. When I came up with this concept of how to neutralize energy, we like to use sticky hands, and it's really part of the engagement process of my program. One way to neutralize power of a stronger and greater opponent is by using your waist, using technique and body mechanics. And part of doing sticky hands and engagement, one way to neutralize a person more powerful than you is by using your waist. All right, and even your wrist. I'll explain that to you in a second here, okay? So one of the ways we do that is we use a technique of bending the wrist slightly down and also bending the waist forward. So from a one-hand technique position, he's going to punch with the left hand, and I'm just going to, if I use just my wrist here, you can see that his hand just goes down just by simply lowering my wrist, which is a very nice technique. Okay, I also keep the elbow down. His power, as far as his punch goes downward at an angle. Okay, so from a grappling standpoint, using your wrist to break down the technique, it's not very useful if you're going to go straight down. If I go inward toward his opposite shoulder, which in this word would be that way, toward my opposite shoulder, a bit more effective, as you can see. But I'm also going to turn my waist, which breaks the grip the power and it folds him in a little bit. So this is the only way that using the wrist becomes effective once incorporated with the waist. Otherwise, this less, that more. Okay? So that's kind of one way we use the wrist and the waist. So how that works with the punch, you may wonder, is if he throws that punch, so now I've neutralized that punch. If you notice where my hands are still up high, but I've bent the waist just a little bit. Now, if I happen to give too much energy myself, now I'm out and then there's a second strike. Or he can also do a hook shot because I pushed it down too much, and then I'm left open. I'm vulnerable to a strike to the outside of the head, or as we call the strong side. So once again, if I put too much energy, boom. If I give not enough energy, go punch. Not enough, it can get through and I could possibly get hit. Okay? So once again, the correct way is I'm going to bend the waist right there. Good? Now you may ask, can we combine this together with a two-punch combination? So if he does that, two punch and go 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now I want to do the same thing and combine that with the wax off, wax on method, or wipe on, wipe off method. So he's going to punch here, 1, 2. Once again, 1, 2. Same idea, 1, 2. So we're going to work on deflecting. Now when I deflect someone's grab, I don't want to be on the outside all the time. Sometimes I want to be on the inside. So if I'm going to be on the inside, if he's going to grab with the opposite hand, with the left hand, all right, I want to go out. All right, so if he grabs my hand, I want to go out that way. That's going to release the grab. One more time. And if you notice, still using my waist, and hand goes out that way. Now also, now I'm not going to go like that. I want to deflect outward. Think of extending your hand out to grasp for money. If you ask for money, you extend the hand out to ask for money. Same idea. All right. So that's kind of way we work that. Hips and waist all involved. Okay? Get the hand, waist. Now, can I do it from the outside? Sure. If we're engaging and I lock up one hand and he wants to grab with the other hand this way, now I'm on the outside. Now I have to use my waist technique to, if he grabs, to block down. Okay? He's going to grab. Boom. Even if he grabs for my chest, for my up here to grab a shirt, same thing. Okay? Good?
Take one step back or you already one in the middle. Take one step, both of y'all. There.
Go. So that concludes our session, our energy section. And in that section, we learned how to use sticky hand techniques, how to relax, also how to deflect grabs as well as strikes, also how to use our elbows and wrists, our wrists. We also learned how to use how effective our wrist and waist can be at deflecting someone's grab and punch and to dissipate energy.